Only 37% of Americans think the coming elections will be open, transparent, and honest, according to a new poll. That's sad and sorry, and that's the topic of today's Bold and Blunt, and I'm your host, Cheryl Chumley, giving you a Christian conservative look at today's news, politics, culture, and events. This new poll, this Public Affairs Council poll came out earlier this month, and it was conducted between September 1st and 3rd. A survey of 2,219 adults. Okay, so that's not likely voters, but it's still adults, and I think the findings are interesting just the same. Just 37% of Americans believe the 2024 elections will be both honest and open to rightful voters, while 43% had serious doubts about honesty or openness or both. Thank you, Democrats, for creating this chaotic situation with the open borders and the push to give illegals in local communities right now, headed toward federal elections as soon as they're able, to give illegals the right to vote. You know, if you can't trust our elections, then why bother having them? And that exactly is the push that Democrats are initiating. And before I get into more of that, I want to quickly mention, if you like Bold and Blunt, you may get Bold and Blunt at edify.app, at Real Life Network, at washingtontimes.com, where I invite you to sign up for my 3 times a week newsletter. It comes out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, containing all the commentaries that I write at the Washington Times, as well as my Tuesday and Thursday Bold and Blunt podcast. Just go to washingtontimes.com, go to the bottom of the page, find the newsletter section, find Bold and Blunt with Cheryl Chumley. That's me. That's my newsletter. Click on it and sign up. I think it's just, you have to put in your email, and you will get right in your email box, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my newsletter. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much. I really, truly do appreciate it. And one more quick mention. Of course, you can get Bold and Blunt wherever podcasts are offered. In 1996, Congress actually passed a law preventing what's called non-citizens, meaning illegals, from voting in federal elections. But states, localities, that law didn't apply to them. So even though state constitutions, right, don't explicitly state that illegals are allowed to vote in state and local elections, some states, some localities actually do allow illegals to vote. 7 states, right? As of earlier this year, 7 states said that those who are not citizens cannot vote in state and local elections. These are the heroes in America: Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Louisiana, North Dakota, and Ohio. Thank you for making that clear, that non-citizens can't vote. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought you needed a law for that, right? But in this day and age of leftist-leaning pushes toward creating chaos wherever and whenever possible, including our elections, I guess we do need to make the common sense, put it in print. D.C., District of Columbia, and 3 states, though, allow illegals to vote in local elections: California, Maryland, Vermont. Unbelievable, right? And New York was either headed that way or did head that way in certain jurisdictions. Look, if you don't live in this country legally, you shouldn't be able to vote in this country. It just makes sense. But Democrats, ever consistent in their push for all things illegal, of course, want to open the borders wide to illegals and then get these people quickly signed up to vote as fast as possible because, A, Democrats can't win on their principles and platforms because their principles and platforms are basically Marxist and communist and collectivist. And by and large, if Americans knew that openly, they would reject it. Yes, even the younger Americans who have been fed the line in America's public school systems that socialism is the way to go. I think even they would reject Democrats if Democrats were open about their ultimate agendas for America, to turn it communist, to turn it collectivist. So A, Democrats can't win on their principles and platform. And B, Democrats ultimately want to cripple and crumble America as a whole, want to turn the Constitution on its head, want to completely destroy the idea in America that individual rights come from God and that government is only there to serve as a public servant, serve to protect those God-given inherent liberties and rights. And they want to usher in a new form of government called World Economic Forum style, or World Health Organization style, or United Nations style, which is basically to say, in this day and age, China communist style. The new globalism is basically what China runs on, communism, CCP, total top-down control. And this is where Democrats want to lead America, because these same Democrats pushing this elitist, bureaucratic, communist style of governing think that they're going to be the ones at the top, and the rest of us peons in the world are going to be there to serve them. It will be the ultimate two-tier class society where the very few select at the top, always the Democrats, right? Always the leftists, will control the rest of the population, not just in America, but of the world. But America has been the stumbling block because we have that pesky thing called God-given liberties. Endowed by our Creator, it's in our DNA, it's in our founding documents, and that's what Democrats cannot stomach. That's been the stumbling block for globalists for so many years. Thankfully for their cause, Joe Biden, the puppet, is in the White House, so they've been able to steamroll much of their agenda in rapid fire time through America. But the sticking point always in America is the elections, right? Because once Americans have their eyes awakened to these leftist designs, then they go to the polls and they vote out a lot of these leftist politicians. We saw that several times in our history. We see that over and over again in our voting history. Just recently, we had the Tea Party, right? We had the Tea Party, sick and tired of Republicans campaigning on limited government and then going to Capitol Hill and going behind closed doors, cutting deals with Democrats that constantly call for hikes to the debt ceiling, more money going into the pockets of the politicians so they can redistribute at their whim and will. So we had the Tea Party to cut that down. Then we had Donald Trump coming in, right? Donald Trump, the great disruptor. And that was the total outrage for the far left. They could not stomach the idea of a politician like Donald Trump who came into the White House beholden to nobody because he didn't ride into the White House on a wave of lobby dollars and special interest campaign funding. And then, more than that, he dared to actually do what he campaigned upon. Right? America first, make America great again. And he did that. He put into practice those small bumper sticker statements to indeed put America first. So what did the Democrats do? They had to mess with the elections. And oh, looky here comes the coronavirus, the perfect excuse to keep voters in their homes, away from the polls, mailing in ballots and voting early, and opening the doors to all types and styles of voter corruption. And if you don't think that that's possible in America, well, go through your history and look at all the times in history that there have been instances of corruption, right? And not just little spots and dribs and drabs, but significant amounts of voter corruption. I've actually done a couple of Bold and Blunt podcasts on that in the past. So if you're a regular listener, you'll know. And if you're not a regular listener, well, you can go back and find it. But I go through all the stats and all the stories of actual voter election where the corrupted results have actually changed the outcome of the candidate who won. So Democrats, of course, want to continue this practice. They saw their opportunity with the coronavirus. They seized it. They took it. And now they want to do it again. And we have this poll, 37% of Americans, only 37% of Americans believe the upcoming elections will be honest and open. right? That's sad and sorry. Democrats were more confident in the integrity of the election process. PAC writes, with 50% saying they believe the elections will be honest and open. Wow, isn't that curious? Just 35% of Republicans and only 24% of independents agreed. This was a reversal, I'm reading from PAC here, from 2020 when Democrats had much greater concerns about election integrity. 63% of the public said disinformation will be a factor in the outcome of the elections. So what to do? Here we are headed into elections, and a good portion, a majority portion of Americans think that the elections are somehow, somewhere along the line, whether in disinformation, whatever that means, disinformation, I guess that means when politicians open their mouth, or through actual corruption at the ballot box, that the election results will be tainted, suspicious, dare we say stolen elections. Well, this is the reality of America 2023, right? Going into these elections, this is what we have to concern ourselves about. So, what to do? Like I said, Johnny Vieira, founder of VotifyNow.org, has an idea. VotifyNow is an app that allows for real-time reporting for suspicions at the voter box. It's an interesting app. It's an interesting creation, and better for you, right? It's free. He's here to talk about this app, how you can get it, and more importantly, why you should get it. Johnny Vieira, thank you so much for being on Bold and Blunt. It is so great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's talk about your Votify Now app. What is it, and how is it going to help voters this election?
So, Votify Now was first developed, the initial development started in 2019, even before the 2020 election. So certainly by 2021, we were live and getting out in the field. By 2022, we were heavily involved in the midterms, giving the Kerry Lake legal team most of the evidence they used in their hearings. Of course, what the judge does with it, that's out of our control. So yeah, we've been out for several years, and we were heavily monitoring the 2023 election, still are. We were happy to see Jeff Landry win. And then, of course, we're getting ready for 2024. And how this platform is unlike any other platform, it's a mobile app that, and it's VotifyNow. Anybody can get it at Google Play or the Apple Store, or go to VotifyNow.org. And it is very simple, but does two key important functionalities. The first is it's very user-friendly. When a user downloads the app, they can easily go to the election integrity tools and report anything they're seeing by just simply typing a quick description, taking a video. It automatically geo-targets where the user is, so they just hit, submit location button, and that's it. They send that to our secure database, where we keep chain of custody. We keep this information very secure. We protect everybody who's making these reports. But here's the amazing thing of the platform. Within minutes, after we have some very smart code, we use AI in a lot of ways, which is basically just machine learning algorithms to look and verify incidents. Once it clears the initial verification process, the vetting, we do get some human eyes on the incident. This is all happening within minutes. And then, unlike any other system, we turn around and we put that incident back out on the map where it came from in the form of a dot, so that users can see these dots in their area. And just like on Zillow or anything else, when you click the dot, it will then open up the full report and video of whatever was reported. again, this is all happening within minutes. So if you've got a bunch of nefarious, suspicious activities happening at a polling location, it does work for early mail-in stuff as well. People report piles of mail-in ballots, but especially on election day, people are reporting, a lot of shenanigans going on. Other users can just look at the additional incident section of the app and see in real time what's happening around them, so that maybe they alter their voting plans. Maybe they want to go to a different location. Maybe they want to. They could talk with each other. Maybe it turns out many people saw a suspicious red van pulling up at drop boxes at 5 in the morning. There's just so many things that could happen when you tie in a whole. It's like citizen policing, basically. So there's that real-time functionality that happens for voters, and then at the same time, these incidents we are formatting them into PDF reports, and these reports go out to independent journalists, proper law enforcement, campaign managers. These are going out every 15 minutes throughout the day, so that people that are interested in what's going on with their campaign or their election can be getting these reports throughout the day, not just the end of the day, not weeks later, not months later, but literally starting in the morning. So it's this two-pronged approach that we feel can make, even if it's just, a little bit of a difference, this is how we act in a proactive way to put a spotlight on any irregularities that might be happening in elections.
It's ingenious, and I guess the one clarification that's needed is whether or not these reports that come from voters achieve any type of verification status, or is it just put out the raw data of whatever is reported?
Well, no. I literally, yes. Let me make it a little more clear. We have a heavy vetting system. A multiple tier vetting system. Obviously, I can't go into details right now because the bad actors that could be listening would know what we're doing and they would learn ways around it. But there is 3 or 4 lines of defense for a report to ever make it onto our app. And by the way, that said, there's always going to be 1 or 2 that fall between the cracks. But if we're getting 99% of the election irregularities out there for people to know, to maybe make another decision on what to do, or get these incidents to the proper authorities, independent journalists, we feel that even if 1 or 2 out of 10,000 make it through, we're still making a significant difference. And we use everything from algorithms and AI to vet these incidents to eventually, once it makes it all the way through, we will eventually lay eyes on the more serious incidents. And when I say that, we color code the incidents in 4 categories. White is the most benign incident, a white dot that you see appear on the map near your area. That would mean somebody's reported something that we and the system feels is probably benign. Something like, hey, I saw somebody drop off 5 ballots. Is that okay? It could be someone's dropping off for a family. So we have I won't go into every sample, but we have a whole way of grading things between white, which is the most benign, then yellow would be the next level, orange a little more serious, and then red would be a nefarious, probably something nefarious going on. So again, we make it so that voters at a quick glance can look at the map of these additional incidents happening around their community, and just by the colors can see where's the hot spot. By the way, also users can zoom in on any city in the country. You don't have to just look at your area. You could literally go and look and see if other states or counties are encountering issues that you are. So we feel that maybe someone might see something happening in another state, and maybe that might trigger something that they weren't sure was suspicious, but, now they've just read 10 reports of the same thing. So, we do a lot of vetting for these incidents.
So speaking to Kari Lake, what were some of the things that your app red flagged regarding Kari Lake's pursuit?
Well, we actually brought to the attorneys the star evidence, if you will, the misalignment of the printer paper. I don't have the issue in front of me. The paper didn't align into the machines properly, which caused rejections and caused the ballots to get dropped into some kind of a black box, which God knows what happened to them at that point. Also, it caused backup lines, and this disenfranchised many voters. We saw reports of people that just was reporting, hey, I cannot, this line is around the corner. I can't wait. I mean, it was just heartbreaking. We did see a lot of other things, like people getting a message from the county saying, hey, we want to thank you for voting. Know that your vote, is being counted, and blah, blah, blah. And the person still had their ballot in their hands, never sent out anything. And just crazy stuff that you can't make up. And then, of course, the typical footage of people dropping off ballots in drop boxes at weird times, and a lot of suspicious stuff that I don't know if it would be a red dot, maybe an orange dot, if I had to say how nefarious, but just some strange behavior. Lots of cars coming into drop boxes at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. with always more than one ballot, and almost always a weird time, and always a photo. Now, all those little things on their own don't mean anything, but the great thing about VotifyNow and us collecting all this data from all over the country is when you see hundreds of people coming in at between 2 and 5 in the morning, you can't prove that that's a election, irregularity, or we try to avoid the word fraud, but you can't necessarily prove that, but certainly shows that something is going on. And then there's other things that we just straight out prove, but we can't, we don't get involved with the lawyers. We're not law enforcement. All we could do is get the evidence to the right parties. And with the Kari Lake team, we did get them hundreds of incidents. Why they only used our misprinter issue, I don't know if you watched that story at all. We have no idea why they only used that incident from us. We supplied them with dozens, maybe hundreds of incidents. So, again, I'm not her legal team, so I can't second guess what their strategies are.
So just wrapping up with the last couple questions here.
Sure.
Obviously, this is nonpartisan, but do you have feedback that you have received from Democrats cheering this type of data analysis, or is it mostly Republicans?
No, I don't. And by the way, I really, really would like to have reports from Democrats.
It seems odd to me that Democrats wouldn't be as on board with this app as Republicans in terms of feedback.
That's a great question. That's a great question, by the way. I guarantee you, back when Stacey Abrams was first contesting her first loss in Georgia, I guarantee you she would be using the app or talking about the app. Certainly Hillary Clinton with her loss. So there was a time when the left was definitely talking about election integrity. Right now, I believe it's kind of taboo for the left to talk about it. But I have no doubt that they will soon be getting on board and will start once again, bringing up election integrity issues. I just think it's kind of taboo for them to mention it because it's such a contested, with the 2020, with President Trump and Biden. So I think that's why. But we certainly encourage anybody on the left. The app only really hits its true mission if it's used and embraced by everybody. So, we're hoping that happens soon, and I have no doubt that it will, because I don't see this problem going away anytime soon. But I do want to say one last thing if we're getting close to...
Go ahead.
If you have more questions. So one thing that really, really irks me, and I'll tell you that I feel interferes with our mission statement. So VotifyNow is an extremely advanced piece of technology. I'm not just tooting my own horn. I've spent over $500,000 of my own money building it, almost 5 years, and have done everything that needs to be done, testing, beta testing, getting, feedback from different states, lots of things. And we take 0 donations. We won't take a penny from people. Voting should just be a God-given right. One of my pet peeves is all these election integrity guru grifters. And the reason that I have such a problem with them, and I'm sure, without naming names, I'm sure we both know a lot of the big names that are out on these circuits and these going here and traveling. I think one's in Florida right now, and it's the same names. And these people take away, my potential users because they're promising to save America and just donate to us. We got the solution. And boy, if you want to talk about, really getting me worked up, let me tell you, these grifters really, because they're not only taking people's money and doing nothing, they're also taking away potential VotifyNow users that could be actually using the tool that really does something. So, that's really been on my, hit list of, I got to get rid of these guys.
How does Votify now recoup its investment? How do you guys make money?
We don't. I dug into my life savings, and I felt like I was blessed. I'm not great at everything in life, but I'm a very, very gifted problem solver, and especially in the form of a tech solution. So it was just the perfect timing where I had a previous big platform, not VotifyNow, but something very large like that. These are big platforms with a mobile API, a database. There's a lot involved. I had just finished a build that I did get paid for, so it freed me up to build VotifyNow, and then, of course, it ended up turning into a 4-year-long, going on 5 years, and like I say, about $500,000. It's not like I want to always remain, out of pocket with my life savings drained. I do eventually think somebody like the RNC or maybe another party, incorporates the system into some kind of a larger tent, or maybe a big donor buys the system or funds, something like that is the strategy. But I just won't take like a regular average Joe that maybe is barely getting by, especially with inflation. I won't take their money. But doesn't mean that, I wouldn't partner up with some 400 or 500 companies.
So last question then, Johnny, is, the app's been around for a few years now, so possibly you've had an opportunity to sort of see some trends. Are there any places in America, any hot spots for voter irregularities?
Oh, yeah. Arizona, top of the list. In fact, the amount of incidents that came in from Maricopa was shocking. Wisconsin, another top contender. Georgia, major problems. Pennsylvania, major problems. And then some other oddball states that you would think would just be like a solid blue, but lots of things out of like California and New York, interesting enough. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple as well. I don't have the stats in front of me, but Michigan, I don't know if I named Michigan, another major hotspot. Yeah, those are, I mean, it's pretty much what you typically hear about.
Right.
I do have to say. And what's funny is it pretty much lines up. Like, for example, we were heavily involved in monitoring the Louisiana, I think it was the gubernatorial race, Jeff Landry, and we were heavily involved in watching that and helping his team out. And I got to tell you, we saw very few incidents coming in, certainly nothing major, and then he goes on to win. So it's very interesting that we saw very little activity, and then the person that people thought would win wins. And then as opposed to where we see a flurry of incidents coming in, it seems like the candidate that was ahead in the polls loses. So, I guess that's self-explanatory.
Very interesting app. Just detail one more time how people can get it. I'll spell it. It's VotifyNow. How do people get it?
Yes, ma'am. They could go to Google Play Store for their Android phone. They could go to the App Store for their iPhone, or we recommend they go to VotifyNow.org. And we also, you can get the links there. You could read the news. We've been covered by John Solomon's Just the News and Bannon and John Fredericks and OAN News. We don't get a lot of mainstream media, but we discussed that earlier. They could watch the explainer video. I encourage everybody to go to Votify Now, and there is a short video that automatically plays when people go to Votify Now. If they watch that video, they will absolutely understand how this system is a game changer, and it is unlike anything else that people call, quote, election integrity platform. So I encourage everybody to please go to the website. You can download the app from the website, and please share it with everyone, as this is a grassroots. We don't have a marketing campaign. It's all out of my pocket. Again, I don't take donations, so people just sharing it really helps out.
Very good. Excellent. And now you're covered by Bold and Blunt at the Washington Times as well, so you can add that to your list. Johnny Vieira, I want to thank you so much for coming on and explaining this just in time for election season. VotifyNow.org, you said, was the website. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, there's a reason why voters in America, by and large, are suspicious of our election counts nowadays. So instead of just complaining about it, be part of the solution. Thank you for listening. I want to remind you, if you like Bold and Blunt, you can get Bold and Blunt at edify.app, at WashingtonTimes.com, at Real Life Network, and wherever podcasts are offered. Tune in next time, and in the meanwhile, don't forget, stay blunt, stay bold.